Good morning to everyone. So our today's lead code question is 3629, which is minimum jumps to reach and via prime teleportation. So basically in this question we are given an integer array nums whose length is n, and what we have to do is we have to start from index number 0 and our goal is to reach the index number n minus 1, and for any index I we can perform any of the two operations mentioned over here. So either from I we can go to I plus 1 or I minus 1, right? So this is adjacent step, and if the index that is I minus or I plus 1 is within the bounds, that is means that is present from 0 to n minus 1, right? And the second thing that we can do is prime teleportation. That means if the element that is present at index I is a prime number p, that is nums of I is a prime number p, then we can instantly jump to any index number j. We can instantly jump to any index number j such that j should not equal to I, and nums of j, the element at index number j is a prime factor, should be a prime factor of the prime number. So suppose if nums of I is equal to 2, let's say nums of I is equal to 2, and at index number 4, we have, say, let's say 6. So 6 is 2 into 3, 2 into 3. So we can jump from index 2 to 4, as 2 is a, at index number 2 we have a prime number p, and at index number 4 we have 6, which is which in such that in the prime factorization of 6 we have 2, such that nums of j, that is 6 modulo 2, is equal to 0, right? And what we have to do is we have to return the minimum number of jumps, which we require to reach to the index number n minus 1, right? So let's see the examples. So our first example is 1 2 4 6. So initially we are at index number 0. So 1 is not a prime number, so either we can go to left or right. Left is not there, so we go to right. And now after one jump we have reached this index 2. Now we see 2 is a prime number, so it can see, it can go to this index, because 6 modulo 2 is equal to 0, so it can directly jump to this last index, and that is our goal, so the total number of jumps are 1 and 2, so 2 is the answer. So let's see the next example. In next example we are initially at 2, right? So from here 2 we can either go to 3 in one jump, or we can either go to 4 in one jump, right? So let's say we have done the both things. Then from 3 we can go to 9, that is two things. From 4 we can only go to either 3 or 7, either 3 either or 7, right? So which one is giving us minimum jumps? So this thing, that is 2 to 3 and then 3 to 9, is giving us minimum jumps, that is 2, so 2 is our answer. So let's see the constraints. That, so first of all, n, which is the nums dot length, the length of the array, we can have 10 ki power 5. So either big of n solution or big of n log n solution we have to think of, right? And the second thing is nums of I, means each element. So each element can be anything from 1 to 10 ki power 6, right? So let's move to the approach part. So first of all, what do we have to do? So from index I we can either go to index I plus 1 or I minus 1, that is our adjacent move, and the cost is 1. Or we can prime teleportation. If nums of I is a prime number, then we can jump to any index j where nums of j modulo the prime number is equal to 0, and it also costs 1. So both the adjacent move and prime teleportation has the same cost, right? And what we have to do is we need minimum jumps, to reach n minus 1, and also every move cost exactly 1, right? So this becomes the shortest path in unweighted graph, because each move has the same weight, which is 1. So it becomes the shortest path in unweighted graph, and we know for shortest path we use BFS, right? So we'll be using BFS in this solution. So let's see the brute force approach. So brute force approach is that we go to every index, that at every index we take three steps, either go to left, either go to right, and if it is prime, then we search all divisible numbers by that prime number in the array, right? And then we can go to those indexes also. So if you'll see the brute force complexity, so suppose if nums of I is equal to 2, if nums of I is equal to 2, then to check all the indexes j where nums of j modulo 2 is equal to 0, so for every prime number, we have to check n indexes, that is big of n. So in worst case it can be big of n square, and big of n square is will give time limit exceed for 10 ki power 5, right? So our brute force approach will not be working. So let's see the optimizations that we can do over here. So first optimization, so like instead of searching indexes divisible by a prime number every time, what we can do is we can pre-compute all divisible indexes of a prime number, right? So let's see an example to get the first optimization. So suppose our nums array is 2 3 4 7 and 9. So what are the indexes that are divisible by prime number 2? So at index number 0 we have 2, 2 is divisible by 2. At index number 4 we have 4, sorry, at index number 2 we have 4, which is also divisible by 2. So the indexes 0 and 2 are divisible by the prime number 2. Similarly, indexes 1 and 4 are divisible by prime number 3, and index number 3 is divisible by prime number 7. So now we have computed the indexes that are divisible by the corresponding prime numbers. So this will help us in the teleportation, right? But the thing is that to build this mapping, we need to find the prime factors of every number, right, using factorization. So now if we use naive factorization, means straightforward factorization, that is to use a loop from 2 to square root of x. So the complexity will be big of x, right? And for 10 ki power 5 it will be too slow. So instead of using the direct factorization, what we'll be doing is we'll be optimizing the factorization process. So for optimizing the factorization process, we will be using SPF, that is smallest prime factor approach, SPF CUE method, and SPF means smallest prime factor. So let's take an example. Suppose SPF of 12, which is so 12 is basically 2 into 3. So 12 has two factors, 2 and 3. So which one is smaller? 2 is smaller. So SPF of 12 is 2. Similarly, SPF of 15 means 3 into 5. So SPF of 15 is 3. And similarly 49 is 7 into 7. So which is the smallest prime factor? 7 is the smallest prime factor. So we store these values for each number in the range. Like so, let's say we have x is equal to 12, right? So SPF of 12 is 2. So now our p will become, sorry, SPF of 12 is not 6, it is 2. So our p will become 2. Then x will be updated as x divided by p, that is 12 divided by 2, it will become 6. Then again, now our x has become 6. Then again we find the SPF of 6. SPF of 6 is again 2. Now our p is 2. Then x modulo 2, that is 6 modulo 2, we get x is equal to 3. Then SPF of 3 is 3 itself. So we get our prime, that is 2, 2 and 3, right? So like see, earlier if we have used the normal method, then the time complexity will be under root of 12. But now we have done it in 3 steps, which is log of x, right? So earlier the time complexity of naive factorization is root x, then this is log of x, right? So let's see how it works. So let's say x is equal to 60. Now instead of checking all the numbers till root 60, which is almost 8, right? What we'll do is, well, first we check SPF of 60 is 2. Then we divide 60 with the this number 2. So 60 divided by 2 is 30. So we get 1 prime, that is 2. Then SPF of 30 is 2, right? So 30 divided by 2 is 15. So again we get one more factor. So now we have 2 and 2. Then SPF of 15 is 3. So we get 2, 2 and 3. And now 15 divided by 3 is 5. And then SPF of 5 is 5. So we get 2, 2, 3 and 5, which is 5 3 is 15 to the 30, 30 to the 60. So these are the prime factors. These are the prime factors of 60. So if we have used normal method, then we have taken 8 steps. Now using SPF, we have taken only 4 steps to find the prime factors of a number. So that's why SPF is faster than the naive factorization or normal factorization method, right? So let's see the complexity improvement. So trial division or normal factorization will take big of root x, but SPF take big of log x. So SPF makes the factorization very fast, right? That is from root x to log of x, right? So this is the second optimization. So now after finding the factors of every number, and then we build the, now next we see how we will build the SPF, right? How we will be building SPF. So we will be using sieve method. So for all numbers from 2 to 10 ki power 6 minus 6 plus 1, as our maximum range of the element that is given in the question is 10 ki power 6. So we will be doing for 10 ki power 6 plus 1. So initially what we will do is we'll declare SPF of I is equal to I. That means we are assuming every number is a prime number and then marking the smallest prime factor as itself, right? And now next what we'll do is we'll handle the special cases, that is SPF of 0 and 1 are not prime. So SPF of 0 is 0 and SPF of 1 is 1, right? So these are the special cases. Then we start from 2. Then we check if SPF of I is equal to I. If SPF of I is equal to I, that means this number, this I is still unchanged, which means I is a prime number, So now what we'll do is, after we get a prime number, we'll mark all the multiples of that number, because those will be non-prime. So if we get 2, then we mark 4, 6, 8 up to our maximum limit. We mark all the numbers as non-prime, right? And we start directly from I cross I. So if you see in the sieve method, we are starting directly from I cross I, right? I cross I. Why? Because smaller multiples will already processed by smaller prime numbers. So let's say an example. So for I is equal to 5, 10 will already processed by 2, 15 will be already processed by 3, 20 will already be processed by 2, right? So we directly start from 25 because it is 5 into 5, right? So now this is also one optimization, like starting from I cross I directly. Now if SPF of j is equal to j, that means no smaller prime factor has been assigned yet, right? So we assigned SPF of j is equal to I. That means the smallest prime factor of the number j is I. So this way we use SPF. This way we build the SPF and then use the SPF to find the prime factors of the numbers, and then use this SPF to find prime factors of number in log of x time, right? Next, third optimization is, so we'll be storing only useful prime numbers. Suppose we have taken nums is equal to 6, 10 and 15. So what are the factors? Factors are 2, 3 and 5. But teleportation will work. Teleportation will work if the element itself is a prime number, right? See, here we have 6, 10 and 15 and their factors are 2, 3 and 5. But as it is given in the question that teleportation will work only if the number itself is a prime number. But here we can see none of the 6, 10 and 15 is a prime number. So what we'll do is we'll mark prime scene of P. That means this prime number, whether it's exactly it exists in the nums array or not. So see, 2 is not existing, 3 is not existing, 5 is not existing. And then what we'll do is, while factorizing the number, if the prime number is present in the array, if the prime number is present in the array, only then we'll store it. Only then we'll store it, right? So this third optimization, what it will do is it will store only useful prime numbers. Useful means those prime numbers which are present in the nums array, right? So here see, 15 is 3 into 5, but none of 3 and 5 is present in the nums array. So there is no point of storing those numbers, right? So these are the three optimizations that we have done. Next what we'll do is, next we build the graph. That is a prime number and then all the indexes such that element at those indexes will be divisible by that prime number. So see, next we have, so let's see this example. So we have 2, 3, 4, 7 and 9, then 2. So these two indexes are divisible by 2, 0 and 2. 3, 1 and 4 are divisible. 7, third index is divisible by 7. So this means if you are standing at index number 0, which is nums of 0 is equal to 2, then we see for 2 we have indexes 0 and 2. That means we can teleport to every index divisible by 2, which is index number 0 and 2, right? So now using this approach, our teleportation has become very fast because we have already pre-computed all the reachable indexes. Earlier we were computing at that time we are present on the index, but now we have already computed. Next what we'll see is, we'll see the fourth optimization, which is remove duplicates prime factors. So here we have 12 has 2, 2 and 3, so 2 is appearing 2 times. So like if we do not do this optimization, then 2 may get processed multiple times. This 2 will get processed 2 times, right? So during factorization, when we get p is equal to 2, we get prime p is equal to 2 and we have stored it, then what we'll do is, then we divide a number x, which is 12, by this prime number until it gets divisible. So 12 modulo 2 is 0, then x will become 6, again 6 modulo 2 is 0. So now x will become 6 divided by 3. Now 3 modulo 2 is not 0, so now then we stop. So this 2 is appearing 2 times, so we remove the duplicate prime factors also while building the mapping. We remove this duplicates prime factors, right? So we remove all occurrences of the same prime factors at the same time, right, when we store it. That means like every distinct prime factor is processed only once. So now our graph is built. So we start BFS. So we have said we use BFS to find the smallest path from 0 to n minus 1. So we start from index number 0 because that is our starting point. So then we have maintained a vector named as distance, and its size is n, and initially all elements are -1. That means they haven't reached yet. And distance of I is the minimum jumps required to reach index I from the index number 0, right? So distance of 0 will be 0 because initially we are present at index number 0, right? So for every index I we will try 3 possible moves. First is, we can move to the left index, which is I minus 1. We can move to the right index, which is I plus 1, if they haven't already visited. If they haven't already visited. So the third move is prime teleportation, which is if the number is prime, then we can take the third step, else we can take the third step. And then if the number is prime, then we visit every index which is divisible by this prime number, right? Then there is one more optimization, which is we won't reuse the same prime teleportation again and again. Now suppose our prime number is 2, and if we revisited another index containing 2, if we revisit another index containing 2, then again traversing the same indexes which are divisible by 2 will repeat the same work, right? So it has like no value, because we have already computed the same things, and now we are doing the same thing again and again, so it will makes our complexity large. So what we'll do is we'll use a array that whether we have used a prime number p or not. So if a prime number used means it, if it is true, then we won't use it again, right? So this is one more optimization. That means if the number is already used, if the prime number is already processed, then we skip it, because all the nodes that are reachable by that prime number p are already processed, or explored, right? So these are the five optimizations which we have done in the current code to make it, to reduce it from big O of n square, right? Now let's see the complexity of this approach. So first we have to build SPF, smallest prime factor, right? So max v is 10 ki power 6, right? So the time complexity to build SPF is big O of 10 ki power 6 max v into log of max v. This is for CU method. Right? So this is the time complexity to build SPF. Now after building SPF, what we have done, we are factorizing all the numbers. So factorizing all the numbers will take big O of n into log of max v, right? And then we have taken BFS traversal, which is big O of n. So the overall time complexity is this: building SPF plus factorizing all the numbers plus traversal big O of n, right? So this is the overall time complexity, which is lesser than big O of n square. So let's try to understand the approach with the help of an example. So we have taken the nums arrays 1 2 4 6. So first of all, we find the prime numbers that are present in the array. So we have 1 2 4 6 in array, we have 1 2 4 6. So the prime number that is present is only 2. So we mark prime seen of 2, that is we have seen 2 in the array, so we mark that as true. Now next what we'll do is we'll build mapping, right? That is we factorize every number using SPF. So at index number 0 we have nums of 0 is equal to 1. So we skip, because 1 is not a prime number and it doesn't have any prime factors, so we skip this one. Then we move to the next index. So at index number 1 we have nums of 1 is equal to 2. So factorization of 2 is 2 only, and since prime seen of 2 is equal to true, so we store for prime number 2 we have index 1, right? Because 2 is present in the nums array, that's why we are storing indexes for 2. Then at index number 2 we have element 4. The factorization of 4 is 2 into 2. So see here 2 are appearing 2 times, so we have to remove the duplicates. So after removing duplicates, 4 is equal to 4 has the prime factor 2. So we store, again 2 is present in the array, so we store index number 2 also, right? So now for prime number 2, the number divisible are present at index number 1 and index number 2, which is 2 and 4. So now next we move to index number 3, which is 6, and the factorization of 6 is 2 into 3. But prime seen of 3 is false, that means 3 is not present in the nums array. So we won't store this like for prime number 3 we want to store index number 3 because 3 is not present in the array, so we only store for index number 2. So mapping 2 is 1 to 3. So for index number, so for prime number 2 we have indexes 1, 2 and 3 which are divisible by 8, right? So after building the mapping, what we'll do is we'll start the BFS. So we have initialized the distance array as 0, -1, -1, -1. 0 means at index 0 the distance is 0. Then we push in the queue the 0th index, right? That means we are currently at index number 0 with 0 jumps, right? Then we process index 0. So we left move. Left move means -1 which is invalid. Then the right move, that is index number 1. So at 0 the distance is 0. So from 0 we go to 1. So the distance is distance of 0 plus 1 which is 1. So distance of 1 is 1. So we updated distance of 1 is equal to 1. Then we push this index in the queue. We push this index in the queue. Then we check for the teleportation, but nums of 0 is equal to 1, so which is not a prime number, so we can't teleport, right? Then we process the index number 1 which is present in the queue. So left move is 0. 0 is already visited, that means we won't process it again, right? Then right move is 2. Right move is index 2. 2 is not visited, so we first update distance of 2 as 2 because distance of 1 is 1, so we updated distance equal to 2. And then then we push this element in the queue. Then we again do the prime teleportation. Now nums of 1 is equal to 2 and 2 is a prime number, and we check whether we have used 2 earlier or not. We have used 2 earlier or not, so we haven't used 2 earlier, so it is false. So we teleport to all the indexes which are divisible by 2, and they are 1, 2 and 3, index number 1, 2 and 3. So we teleport to all these indexes. So first we go to index number 1. Index number 1 is already visited, so we skip it. Then we go to index number 2. It is already visited, so we skip it also. Then we have index number 3. Index number 3 is not visited, so we update the distance of index number 3 as 2. Then we push this index also in the queue because we can teleport from index number 1 to index number 3, as at 1 we have 2, and at index number 6 we have, at index number 3 we have 6, and 6 modulo 2 is equal to 0. So by prime teleportation we can go from index number 1 to index number 3, right? That's why we have updated distance of 3 is equal to 2 and then push the index number 3 into the queue. And now we mark use prime of 2 is equal to 2 because we have already processed the indexes that are reachable by 2. So if in future if we get prime number 2, then we won't reprocess those numbers, right? Then in the queue we have index number 2 and 2 is already processed, so it is not useful to us anymore, right? Then we process index number 3 from the queue, and this is our goal, which is n minus 1th number, right? So we return the distance of 3 is equal to 2, so our final answer is 2, right? So this way we'll solve the question. So let's move to the code part. So in the code part, first we'll build the SPF. First we build the SPF. So we have taken the max v value, that is 10 to the power 6 plus 1, and then we have used a function SPF which will return us a vector of type int. So what it does is, first it will assign s of I value to itself, that is we are assuming every number is a prime number, and then we handle the special cases, that is 0 and 1. So we mark s of 0 is equal to 0 and s of 1 is equal to 1. Then we use cu method, from index number 2, and if s of I is equal to I, that means I is a prime number because it hasn't changed yet, right? So if I is a prime number, then we mark all the what we call multiples of that number I as non-prime, that is we mark smallest s of j is equal to I. So we start from j is equal to I cross I, because all the smaller elements will be already handled by smaller prime numbers, right? As I already explained you why we are starting from I cross I, and then we build our what we called SPF, right? So we return S, and at the end we return our SPF. Now once our SPF is built, then this is our function. This is our function for checking whether a number is prime or not. And I have already explained you with the help of an example now, like how using SPF, we can find the, we can tell if the number is prime, right? So if SPF of x is equal to x, that means the number is prime, right? That means the number is prime, else the number is not prime, right? Then we find the, then we come into the main function, and in the main function we first build the SPF, and then we find the maximum element, that we find the maximum element present in our nums array, and then we find all the prime numbers, right, prime seen. So then we iterate over the array, and then we find all the prime numbers present in the array, all the prime numbers that are present in the array, right? And we mark those prime numbers that are present in the array as true, right? Now after finding all the prime numbers that are present in the nums array, what we'll do is we'll build a mapping, right? So for building the mapping, we have used a map of int comma vector of int, right? So this is our prime number, and here we store all the indexes that are divisible by that prime number. And for this we have used a for loop, and we go to each element, that is, let's say x, and if x is equal to 1, that means we skip it because 1 is not a prime number. And if while x is greater than 1, then we find the SPF of x, that is, let's say 60, then p is equal to SPF of 60, which is 2, right? And if p is less than or equal to maximum, so 2 is less than or equal to our maximum element, that is maxi store the maximum number present in the array. So if 2 is a prime, so we check whether it is smaller than that, and whether is it present in the array or not, prime seen of p, whether 2 is present in the array. So if 2 is present in the array, then we push mp of 2 dot pushback I, means we push the current index for this prime number, right? Let's say the current index is 5th, so we push index number 5 for this prime number. That means this index is divisible, the element present at this index is divisible by this prime number, right? And then we remove the duplicates. So see, we have 60, so 60 modulo 2 30, again 30 modulo 2 is 15, so 60 has 2 into 2, right? So 2 is appearing 2 times, so we remove the duplicates, right? So this way we'll build our mapping using this function. Then after building the mapping, then we start our BFS part. So we have taken a distance vector to store the distances, and then we have another vector which we have like use prime to store whether we have processed a particular prime number or not, to avoid the redundant processing, right? And then we have taken the q for the BFS, and initially we push the index number 0 and distance of 0 is 0. Then until our q do not becomes empty, then we take the front element, and then if index is equal to n minus 1, that means if we have reached our goal, then we reach the distance of the index. Else what we'll do is, else we take the 3 steps, that is, we take the left move. So we check whether the index is in bound or not. If the index is in bound and it's not already processed, then we store distance of index, distance of that left move is equal to current distance plus 1, and then push this index in the queue for further processing. And similarly we take the right move. First we check our right move is in bound and it is not already processed. If it is not already processed and in bound, then we update its distance and push that index in also in the queue. Then we check, then we take if the element is less than maximum, and if it is prime, and if it is prime and it's not already processed, it's not already processed means three things: prime, not already processed, and lesser than or equal to the maximum element. Then what we'll do is, then first we mark that we have used this prime number, and then find all the indexes, that are divisible by this number, and then we iterate over all those indexes, and update their distance, if they are already not processed. If they are all not already processed, then we update their distance and push those indexes also in the queue. So this is teleportation, via prime number, right? So this way we have done all the steps, and at the end we return our, at the end here, when we reach our index n-1, then our answer will be returned. So this is the code. So I hope I am able to explain you the solution properly. So if you like the video, please make sure to like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.